Good evening. Before I call the meeting to order, I want to announce that due to COVID-19, we have individuals attending remotely as well as on site. All participants joining by phone should mute their phones when not speaking to avoid background noise. During this meeting, please make sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time you speak, so the public that is participating knows who is speaking. This is critical given the number of remote participants and its current guidance from the Kansas Attorney General. Call to order. I'm calling the meeting to order. I'll ask the clerk to announce the meeting and call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor Garner. Good evening. You are hereby notified that I've called a special commission meeting of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County in Kansas City, Kansas to be held Thursday, December 30th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. in the 5th floor conference room, 701 North 7th Street, Kansas City, Kansas, regarding an executive session to allow the commission to discuss a candidate for employment, a private personnel matter related to an individual as permitted under the Kansas Open Meetings Act. Roll call. Markley.
Here.
Stites. Davis. Bynum.
Here.
Burrough.
Here.
Townsend.
Here.
McKiernan.
Here.
Ramirez.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Kane. Mayor Garner.
Here. Next, I ask the clerk if there are any revisions to tonight's agenda.
Mayor Garner, there were. We issued a blue sheet modifying the mayor's agenda for this evening regarding a resolution utilizing the former Reardon Convention Center as a temporary weather shelter. Also, our original item number 1 on the mayor's agenda, scheduling an executive session, has now been moved to item number 2 on the mayor's agenda. I will also add that due to the impending weather forecast this weekend, we are limiting tonight's comments section to 20 minutes. Mayor, that includes all of the changes tonight.
For the blue sheet. Per the blue sheet, item number 1 has been added, which is a resolution utilizing the former Reardon Convention Center facility as a temporary cold weather shelter for the unhoused. I'll ask Misty Brown, our Chief Legal Counsel, to make some opening remarks regarding this resolution.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Misty Brown, Chief Counsel for the Unified Government. What you have before you is a resolution of support and for using the Reardon Center as a temporary cold weather shelter for the unhoused in our community. You will note that the resolution states that the Commission supports finding short and long-term solutions and working collaboratively with our stakeholders. It notes that there is a contract between the Unified Government and Crosslines Community Outreach Incorporated to provide these services at the Reardon Center. And the resolution finally voices the support of the Commission to do this and directs the mayor, the county administrator, and other staff of the Unified Government to take further action and execute other documents as necessary to satisfy the intent of the resolution. So as I've walked through the resolution tonight, that is essentially it in a nutshell is what it is. And so I would send this back to the mayor to see if you have anything to add, Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open this matter for public comments from the public who wish to express their comments regarding this matter that has been set before you. Is there anyone joining us virtually who would like to speak on this matter? If so, please raise your hand and be recognized once you've been acknowledged. We ask you to provide your name and city of residency for record. You will be given up to 3 minutes. Correction, you'll be given up to 1 minute to state your comments. Should you go to beyond that half-minute mark, the clerk will announce that you have the time remaining, and that will allow you to time for wrap-up on your comments.
Mayor, we have Dustin here with his hand up.
Oh, gosh.
Go ahead. You're free to speak, Mr. Hare. I think you might be muted.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Dustin Hare. I work with Wyco Mutual Aid. I've been working with the unhoused population for going on 2 years now. And sorry, I just walked in, don't have anything prepared, but I just want to say that I definitely support opening the Reardon Center and getting these folks out of the cold, because last year I was out there with them, gathering people up, taking them to the cold weather shelter, and ensuring that they had a place to stay overnight. I know we lost a couple people on the Missouri side when the weather got cold, and I don't want to see that happen here in Wyandotte County. So that's all for my comments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sawyer.
Hello, my name is Sawyer. I work for Pride Haven on the Missouri side, which is an LGBTQ youth shelter, as well as Kansas City Mutual Aid. And for KCAVP, we've worked a lot with the unhoused population. I have worked with them for the majority of my career. And it's important to me that this stays open. Like Dustin had said, we lost some folks on the Missouri side this past year. And I believe that it is our duty as a community to care for those who are unhoused. That is all I have.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Chester Bell.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Chester Bell, and that's, I guess you could address me as he, him. I work with several volunteer organizations on the Missouri side and occasionally on the Kansas side as well. Come on, your heart must speak to you each about if you were out in the cold, it's 25 degrees outside and you ain't got nowhere to go. Does that seem like your community cares? I mean, just think about that. I don't need an actual answer. I mean, but.
Sir, you have 30 seconds.
Okay, it's freezing outside. Please help these folks. It's an opportunity for them to also get other services while they're there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Susilla Jones.
Hi, hello. I'm Susilla Jones, Executive Director with Crosslines Community Outreach. And I just wanted to say that we are.
Can you give your address, please?
My city of residence is Overland Park, Kansas. Do you need more than that, Mayor? Okay.
That'll suffice. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the importance of this project. We are here literally to save limbs and lives of the people who are unhoused. And although we are technically the one on the contract, this is a very broad
Ma'am, you have 30 seconds.
collaboration of agencies, including the Kansas City Dream Center, Care Beyond the Boulevard, our Spot KC, our primary partners. We also have the very much support and collaboration with MLM, Mount Carmel, Vibrant Health, and Wyandotte Inc. We are staffing this shelter with people who work at those agencies, who are daily working with the unhoused population. And I feel very confident in this community's ability to take care of our community. So I thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Carissa.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to say thank you so much for opening the center. The house's population is very grateful and thankful for this. I just want, I guess, just questions answered so the community would know, since this is open to the public right now. But basically, what will be the hours for the center? Who will be allowed as far as families, children, pets? Because as you know, that all of the house's population come with their own set of, set of people. And how long will the center be open?
Ma'am, you have 30 seconds.
I'm done. So I just wanted those questions answered.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Patrick Ishmael.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Ishmael. I'm a resident of Strawberry Hill. I found out about this meeting about 20 minutes ago, not from my own neighborhood association. And it sounds like there are a number of nonprofits that were made aware of this and have come today, which is fine enough, but there should have been community engagement with the people who live here before these decisions were made. And I am very, very, very upset that this is the process that has been used to not only set this up, but set up the process to, I guess, renew what that building is going to be used for in the next few months. There
You're a
should have been
selfish
outreach to
bastard.
us. There should have been outreach to people who actually live here. I don't know where all these nonprofits, where they reside personally, but as someone who lives here, we do certainly have a homeless problem, but this should have been an issue that we should have engaged as a community, and the people who live here should have been engaged first and foremost. And as far as I can tell, that outreach started about 20 minutes ago, and that's not good enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is KK Assman.
Hello, my name is Amber Holmes, and I am the outreach coordinator for Care Beyond the Boulevard. Our office is at 5th and Quindaro in Wyandotte County. I reside in Raytown, Missouri. My outreach efforts are in Wyandotte and Jackson, and I originally opened the cold weather shelter in Wyandotte County 6 years ago, and it's been successfully run. This has been a collaborative effort for years now, and I just want to share that and kind of piggyback off of Cecilia Jones. And
Ma'am, you have 30 seconds.
These efforts are very collaborative. We are boots on the ground daily in the streets and assisting the unhoused to get housed. And we've successfully worked with individuals every winter now. This will be our 7th winter to assist these individuals. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Helen Collins.
Ms. Collins,
Hear me.
can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Helen Collins. I stay in Wyandotte County. I am one of those, I believe in helping. I have had people to come to my house and stay because they were homeless. But I should, and it's on numerous times, but I should not be able to keep doing that when we got places where they should be able to go. Also, there was a gentleman on here that said he was upset about something. Well, about the community, we as a community do need to get together and try to have meetings, try to find a resolution. This hurts my heart to hear this about the homeless. I don't know if the information is correct about them the door being closed on them. I can't go out in my car and go find 10 people and let them stay on my floor. Physically, I can't do any of that anymore. I don't know what to do.
You have 30 seconds.
I want to help if I can in some type of way, if it's just a voice. Again, my name is Helen Collins, and thank you, Mr. Tyrone.
Thank you.
Mayor, those are all the hands we have online. We do have members of the public in the lobby.
Okay, if there's anyone in attendance on the lobby who would like to speak on this matter, staff will call your name to come to the podium. Once you have been acknowledged, we ask that you provide your name, city of residency for the record. You'll be given up to 1 minute to state your comments. Should you go past the half-minute mark, the clerk will announce that you have whatever remaining time that will allow you time to wrap up your comments.
We have 5 in the lobby.
Okay. My name is Charles Carney. I live in the Prescott neighborhood in Wyandotte County, 309 North 15th Street. I'm a resident of Wyandotte County. I feel deeply, where's our moral compass? My friends have really worked hard to set up this shelter, and now you're going to pull it away. You're going to pull the rug out from under them. This is not right. You can judge a society by how we treat our most vulnerable. Cold weather does not discriminate against which county you live in or who's helping from which county. I'm hoping that we can be less tribal and more global in our outlook, and that we can do what it takes, the bare minimum, to keep people housed until we can find longer term solutions, which I know many of these nonprofits are working very hard on. Thank you.
Is there a button that I push? Mr. Mayor and Councilman, my name is Rachel Erpelding. I'm the Executive Director for Kim Wilson Housing here in Wyandotte County. We operate the Frank Williams Outreach Center and have been working with the houseless for multiple years, and have also had staff who work and operate the homeless in cold weather shelters for the 6 years now. And we want to just voice our support of opening this shelter, even if it's
Ma'am, you have 30 seconds remaining.
even if it's temporarily or an interim, in order to allow public input, but to close when the weather is just about to turn cold is really not acceptable. And we just need to show compassion and really serve the most vulnerable in our community by helping people who have no place to go when it's extremely cold. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Reese Towers. I have to say that I have a business down by Strawberry Hill, and I am also a resident of Wyandotte County. We were not notified of anything of this matter. So it's a shock to us that this is even taking place. We were told that 30 organizations were contacted. We have an organization. We was not contacted, and we are right across the street from the Jack Reardon Center. That is a huge concern of ours. Now, I'm all for helping people, especially the homeless. I am a community activist.
And you have 30 seconds
I have
remaining.
marched and protest these streets, but I think the community should have been involved in this decision. And then we're basing the decision off of the past leadership. We need to give the current leadership the opportunity to handle this matter, not the past. Doug Bach is gone. Goodbye. Let the new leadership step in, handle their business, and we come together as a community, talk about this situation and move forward.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commission. My name is Rob Santel. I am a resident of Olathe, Kansas, and I have been working in this community serving the unhoused population for 5 years. I have been a part of this project for the last 2 years, and I have spent almost the entire last year planning and preparing for long-term solutions to homelessness, as well as this temporary extreme weather project that is needed for these cold weather temperatures. I'm a licensed mental health professional here in this community, and we need desperately to respond. We have been working and serving in this community
Sir,
as
you have 30 seconds remaining.
For over 60 years. And our efforts have not started 20 minutes ago. Our efforts have started several months ago. We have engaged city leaders. We have engaged faith leaders. We have included people within the unified government. We have included neighborhood groups. We held a housing summit in October, which all of the neighborhood groups were invited to that we shared those plans with. We have done our job. We need to keep our people safe, the most vulnerable that do not have a voice at this table. That is why we are here, and I appreciate your support, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. My name is Rachel. Rachel Russell. I have the courtesy of living and working here in Wyandotte County. I will say, like numerous others have, that time is not a luxury that we currently have. As many of you know, the works and the plans were guided by a lot of your advocacy in numerous ARPA conversations, as well as commission meetings, saying that we needed to have a plan. Our most urgent plan was to make sure that we had something in place for a cold weather shelter. I think it is very important that we realize that regardless, Gotcha. That we realize regardless what corner of Wyandotte County this shelter or any other homeless project ends, we are going to experience NIMBY. We will have a list of folks who are supportive and we will have a list of folks who are not. This is an opportunity for Wyandotte County to say we will utilize any of our resources that we have to make sure that our most vulnerable are safe and they are welcome in our community. So thank you.
Hello, board. My name is Kimberly Weaver. I am a resident of Wyandotte County. And I just want to actually take time to name the people that are going to be affected by this. Wax and John and Mike and Vernell and Ellen and James and Williams and Diane. These are people, real lives that are part of our community, that are people that live here in Wyandotte County, even though they're unhoused. These people could potentially die if we don't open this shelter this weekend. And I want us to really keep that in mind. There's death. There are people who could lose body
Ma'am,
parts.
you have 30 seconds remaining.
There's all kinds of things that could be happening to these people, and we're making a decision to put them out at the coldest time of the year. And I don't want that to happen. So these are my people. These are the people that I see and I care about. Thank you.
That's all we have, Mayor.
Mayor, we
you.
do have, I'm sorry, Mayor, we do have 3 additional hands online.
Those online virtually, again, if you'd like to speak, you have 1 minute and you'll be given a notice at the half-minute mark. Please make sure you state your name and your address. And your remaining time will be given for you to wrap up from the clerk.
Our first speaker is Laura CS.
Hi, my name is Laura Sturgis. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I live in Strawberry Hill, very near this location. I kind of hopped on late because I literally just found out about this about 10 minutes ago. I feel that there are 2 separate issues here. The first is how do we show care and compassion for those most in need? And I do hear people speaking out on behalf of those who do need help and assistance, especially in the cold. And I understand and am sympathetic to that. But there is a second issue that seems to be being placed as an opposing viewpoint, but it's not, it doesn't need to be. And that is the concerns of those living here for safety and cleanliness, and how those are going to be addressed if there is a shelter here. Who's going to be providing extra security and who's going to be cleaning up the trash? Because right now it's the neighbors who do all of that. That is all.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, Nehemia Rossell.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So my name is Nehemiah Roselle. I'm a social worker, and I've worked with folks experiencing homelessness in Wyandotte County for over 5 years. I'm a resident of Kansas City, Missouri. I want to say, first of all, that I'm one of the people who are staff and trained to run the shelter this winter, and we really were hoping to fly under the radar with this whole thing, to not cause any sort of stir, to not have any sort of media attention. This was sort of brought upon the group because of the actions of the mayor.
Sure, you have 30 seconds remaining.
Thank you. And we're also really, we're open to any community concerns as this shelter continues on this winter. The staff that's running the shelter is very capable. And so I have full faith and confidence. There's years and years and years of experience among the staff working with the folks who are experiencing homelessness and folks experiencing mental illness. And so I have full faith and confidence that the staff will be run well, and that any issues that kind of come up will be open to the community.
Sir, your time has expired.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our final speaker is Heidi Holliday.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Rich.
We lost you. We can't hear you.
Mayor, she's no longer online.
She just joined us again, Monica. If you can just allow her to speak,
There
that
we
would be
go.
great.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Heidi Holiday. I'm a longtime Wyandotte Countyan. I've lived and worked in this area for 12 years. I would urge all of the commissioners and the mayor.
Mayor, if I may, we have actually reached our 20-minute mark. And I would also add that Ms. Susan Thomas contacted our office and was in favor of opening the center as well.
Okay. Due to the technical difficulties of our last
Can you
virtual.
hear me now?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, we'll give it one more try. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Heidi Holiday. I've lived and worked in Wyandotte County for the past 12 years, recently moved outside of it. I am encouraging you all to support the cold weather shelter. This is the culmination of a lot of work on a lot of nonprofits, as others have mentioned today, and it's also part of the community health improvement plan to support housing for all. So I would encourage you all to remember that housing is something that we're concerned about for all Wyandotte Countyans, and that now is not the time to cancel the work that's been ongoing for the past 4 months.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission have any questions or comments? Commissioner Kane.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the resolution in support of using the Reardon Center as a temporary cold weather shelter.
McKiernan, District 2, second.
There is a motion on the floor and a second, but as far as comments are concerned, are there any other commissioners that would like to make comment? Commissioner Ramirez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank everyone who came out or is online hearing. There's 118 attendees. I think that's the most I've seen since I've been on the commission, since we've been Zooming. So thank you to all who've come able to hear us and hear the discussion. I will say I support the resolution. I support the temporary warming shelter. It is temporary. Let us get through these cold months this winter. We have a whole year until next winter to sit down with the community, with everybody, and find a concrete solution and location for everybody. As most of the commission knows how I lead and how I make my decisions, I make and lead by my heart and conscience. And so once I heard what this was happening, again, man of faith, I couldn't stand by and stand down. I had to fight. They are the unhoused. They may not pay taxes. They may not pay sales tax, property taxes, but they are still human. They are still community members. They are still residents. And I feel that we haven't done a good job of fighting for them, and this is one step towards that. As I had mentioned to my email to the mayor, I feel that our unhoused population have always heard wait. And I think it's far too long we've told them to wait. And so I thank all of the organizations who have worked hard on this. The only drawback and thing that frustrates me is that I knew there were several commissioners that worked on this project and provided input. But what I had an issue with is the commission wasn't notified that this project was going forward and that the contract was signed. Because when I was notified by cross lines of what was happening, again, this isn't the first time I felt it while being on this commission. I was blindsided. I once again had to tell community members, and I had multiple constituents call and email me, and I had to tell them, I don't know what's going on because we weren't told. And again, I thank all the commissioners that worked on the project with the organizations, but I think it was up to administration and staff to reach out or notify the commission and say, this is a project that has happened. This is the contract I have signed. So that something like this, we could have avoided. But that's my only criticism and frustration with the process. But I think this is really needed. And again, we have a whole year to work together, work with the community members, the businesses, the neighborhood groups to find a more concrete solution moving forward. Again, thank you to all who worked on this. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mayor. I do support the resolution. I'm also cognizant of the concerns of some of the other members of the community who live near the environs of it. But what I would hope someone could address on the record, and this may help some of those members better understand what the actual specifics and how this will be run, will be handled, so we can get this on the record. Would council be able to do that? I know they said there's a contract, or maybe Ms. Jones, if she's still available, and specifically address what triggers the opening of the shelter, under what circumstances, how many persons could be housed there, what the hours of operation would be. Is this open to all genders? And what would be the plans at the close, say, of the day or the next morning following a night of shelter for disbursement of the population? I know that is a concern for residents in the immediate area. Again, my thanks to people who have worked on this. It is something that we can no longer do nothing about, because this is a life and death issue when we're talking about cold weather, extreme cold weather. But I think having some of these details made public tonight may help people better understand what will actually take place. Thank you, Mayor, for putting this on the agenda.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just reading a comment by one of the persons that spoke. Dr. Carissa asked the same thing that Commissioner Townsend talked about, but she also asked, would we provide meals or pets and all members of the homeless population allowed? Is a center open through the weekend only or through the winter? And then what the capacity is. So those are the questions that I see out online right now that want some answers to. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
There we go. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me first apologize to our constituents in Wyandotte County. This, I'm going to be frank here, is embarrassing. And these conversations should have happened collectively with the commission in mind. I understand the division of power and who does what between the mayor and the county administrator, and there's that part in the charter, but there's also the soft touch and these soft skills of making sure that we are hearing from everyone, and that when these decisions are made, there's enough political will behind it before the newspapers and social media and all that stuff get involved. And so let me first apologize, because this, quite frankly, is embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and you all deserve better from us. The unified government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas. You deserve better. I am for this resolution. We do not have an alternative plan in place. I think moving forward from staff, we need more communication on what's going on. I've been at this job for 2 weeks, and I'm not hearing from me. I did not hear from anyone on staff what was going on, the plans or anything, in part because this was kind of done with a few commissioners, and now we're dealing with transitionary leadership, and we are in this particular situation. It's not okay. This is not normal. And I hope that we can do better. And I hope that you, our constituents of Wyandotte County, will expect better from us. This is embarrassing. I am deeply disappointed, deeply upset, and we have to do better. In the meantime, I am for this resolution. We cannot leave people out in the cold, but I will encourage you, Mayor, that we need to put together a task force or a council so that we can have a long-term solution. We need to partner with our other jurisdictions in the Kansas City metro area so that we can find a real solution to this issue. In the meantime, we need to make sure that people are okay. Thank you.
Commissioner McKiernan.
Thank you, Mayor. In response to some of the questions about the particulars of the operation, if I would be allowed, I do believe that Rob Santel, we heard from earlier from Crosslines, that he would be able to give us a thumbnail sketch of the particulars of this. So Rob, if you are still there.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, community members. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I can address some of those concerns. And I also want to extend an invitation to any commissioners or city leaders that would like to see the space and see what we're doing. I think a lot of concerns, frustrations can be addressed once you see the space and what we have planned. Again, our intention is to go under the radar. We did not want this kind of attention and things. We want to go and operate this as a way that we have zero impact on the community. We know that many of our guests that are experiencing homelessness in Wyandotte County are in this area. And so we want to make sure that we are providing a safe space for them. Our shelter will decide to be open on nights when it's 25 degrees and below. We make that call at 8 a.m. every day. We have a hotline that our guests can call to find out if we are open or we are closed. Our guests will start arriving at 6 p.m. and they can enter from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We will have staff that will be on site. We are heavily staffed and heavily professionally staffed as well throughout that time. Our guests will be allowed to enter during that time. They will be provided with sweatpants and be provided with warm items for them to make sure that they are able to reduce any cold weather injury. Even though we were operating last year, we still had at one point 3 different people at KU Med on the same hospital floor that were having amputations on their feet. So we know cold weather injury is a real fact, especially here in Wyandotte County, and we need to make sure we're addressing that. Our guests will be provided with a tent for them to sleep in. We are in the middle of a pandemic, so it is very important, especially among this unhoused population that has not received the vaccine, although we will make every opportunity for them to get access to testing and vaccinations while they are with us. But they will have a tent for them to be able to sleep in. Masking will be required of everybody that is in our building, and we will provide a safe place for them to sleep overnight. We will have staff again that will be there for those time periods. We will also have professionals, and we will have housing-focused conversations with these individuals. A great success of this project last year is many of the participants that came to our shelter are in permanent housing now. And that is a reason that we need to celebrate as a community, because this is honestly the most proud I've ever been as a professional, is because we have done great work to get people off the streets and into permanent housing. We have many social service providers that are ready, willing to provide the much needed services that are needed for this population. We know what we're doing. We can do so safely. Our staff are trained in de-escalation. We have worked with the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department, especially their community policing, who's been great to work with in this kind of period. And we know how to handle certain situations that may arise. As Amber Holmes mentioned earlier, we have 6, this is now our 7th season that we've been operational, and we have had no major incidents or things that have happened. And when people have a safe, warm place to be at night, they do not feel the need to throw a brick through a window to get into a warm place, because they have a safe place to go, they have food to eat, and we will work with each of our guests to make sure that they have a plan for where they can go during the day when we are not operational. Thank you, Mayor. Hopefully that addresses many of your questions. Yes, we will also have meals for our guests, both a hot meal in the evening as well as breakfast for them. We know that people that are experiencing homelessness, if you don't have the nutrition, you do not have the body things to be able to stay warm and to be able to function. So keeping people fed and keeping people warm are 2 very important things that we hold dearly. And as you can tell, we're pretty passionate about this. We take great pride in serving the people of Wyandotte County. I will tell you that this has been a collaborative project that nearly every agency that touches homelessness has been involved in and engaged with. We've brought in faith leaders, we've brought in community groups, and I understand that there are some that this is the first time you're hearing about it. Partly, I'm glad that this is the first time you're hearing about it, because that's kind of our goal. Our goal is to go unnoticed in a way that We are not creating a Bartle Hall situation where other communities are bringing other people in. We do not want that type of a situation. We can serve 35 individual adults that present to the shelter. Anybody that presents after that, we will have to kind of divert them to other resources and options. If families present, we have a plan for that, although we desperately want families to be able to find the resources that are available to them in the community. So we are also taking every COVID protocol. We've had the epidemiologist that has been there and in the space. The fire department has been there and in the space. We have kind of checked all the dots, and we have a safe procedure ready to go for tomorrow night. And we appreciate any support we can get from the commission and from the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrough.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Santil, thank you for sharing that information with us. I know you've heard this evening that very few of us have had an opportunity to hear what has been involved in setting up the shelter, but we also answer to our constituents. And I do believe that communication is key in those things that we do within the community. And collectively, we are better when we do communicate so that we can assist in anything moving forward. I will share with you that it's been mentioned that this is just a temporary situation, and we need a long-term solution. And there's not a commissioner here, I believe, that is insensitive or heartless when it comes to the people of our community, and especially those in need and those with a minimal voice or no voice. And we work collectively to provide the services and programs that we can to assist them through hardship. But it is important that we have information, and I can share with you personally that the information I received this evening from you was more information than I've had in the last month in reference to this situation. So thank you for sharing that information, but please know that there's not a commissioner here that doesn't feel the need to support those in our community that are in need of services in these most trying of times. And I do ask and plead with you to ensure that we do all we can to ensure that moving forward, that we continue to communicate with one another, our nonprofits, with the local units of government and your commissioners. We can be partners in this process, but we have to be all at the table. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that turned out this evening. This is a community-wide issue, and I would ask that we keep our eyes on one another and our hearts with one another during the holiday season and moving forward during this very cold time that's ahead of us here in the very short term.
Thank you. Well, thank you. And we all can agree that our homeless, unhoused population, those living in poverty, are really key to us. We know that sheltering and having a warm, safe place for those unhoused Wyandotte County residents is of value to not just to your commission, but to anybody that lives in Wyandotte County. I understand there's been a lot of misinformation put out there about where I stand on this issue. Let me make it clear to the public. I ran on providing leadership, engaged. Part of that leadership is making sure that we take care of our Wyandotte County residents, and that includes our unhoused population. Part of my role as mayor is that I have to get all the facts and get all the facts available to me. When this issue came up, like you're hearing from these commissioners that are my colleagues, very little information was out there other than people had worked hard to get a warming shelter at night for our unhoused population. On the surface, that sounds good. And it is, it's honorable that we've got non-for-profits and community folks stepping up, some volunteering their time to make sure that we meet the needs of those that have little to nothing. I served on the Housing Authority Board here in Kansas City, Kansas, and I fought hard to make sure that those issues were addressed with people living in poverty and trying to get people that were homeless into some type of housing. And that's just it. I do care about people. I want to make sure that because I care about people, that all the dots are being hit and the T's are being crossed. And I say that because with very little information, I had concerns, not just on the surface about the facility, but the wraparound services. I know from my experience that some of these people struggle with mental illness. Some have storied backgrounds. Some have health issues. And some need those wraparound services to sustain them and to make sure that they can remain vibrant and successful in that environment. Security was an issue. Is there security in the facility? That was an issue. Community engagement and support. Did we contact the surrounding communities, such as the stakeholders, such as the downtown shareholders, Turtle Hill, Strawberry Hill, the businesses, the hotel, KU, the strip mall, as well as other stakeholders that are in that area? That was unclear to me. When you talk about showers and laundry facilities and restrooms that are really limited in that location, I had questions about that. I had questions about the hours of operation when we bring people in that I wasn't sure. And I too learned a lot tonight just from hearing the information from one of the providers. But what do we do with our homeless population after the sun rises and it's still 10 degrees outside? They're not just cold at night, they're going to be cold in the day. And so do we have programs, transportation to take these people to the day warming centers that exist, that the unified government has been in partnership with for a very long time? That was a question. How do we move our homeless population from homelessness to hope through housing options? And I'm glad to hear that that's one of the things tonight that was put in place. Are we identifying these individuals and working with them to find long-term solutions to some of the problems that they're dealing with? There were just a lot of issues for me that I needed to find out as the mayor to make sure that I could get that information that I didn't know and work with staff, and also make sure that I could get that information to our elected commission and let them know these things. I did not become aware of any contract until tonight. I learned today that that contract was signed on the 21st. But outside of that contract, little to no information about some of the things that I talked about logistics. And if we fail to plan, in my experience, you can sometimes expect that if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Failure is not an option when we don't plan appropriately when it comes to people that have nothing. My goal was not to put the people that were homeless in this community and further in a situation where they're further victimized. If I'm homeless and I go to the center, what guarantees do I have that I'm going to be able to get occupancy the next day? Were these issues thought out? Were there better options? I sat at the table with some stakeholders involved in this operation. And when I asked about, let's look at different locations that might be better suited, I was told that's not an option. And when people tell me that that's not an option, there's no conversation to be had if you're not willing to come to the table in good faith and at least find real solutions to real problems that impact people's lives. I'm not someone that's going to lock our homeless population out. I'm not that type of person, never have been, and never will be. Those of you who have followed me, one of the things that I ran on was coming up with a task force to address poverty and homelessness in Wyandotte County. But when you do these types of things that have a profound impact, not just on the people that you're trying to serve, you got to think about the unintended consequences. And you got to make sure that you are in collaboration and you get the support from the stakeholders and the community people that may be impacted by these decisions. Communication, as we know, and we've heard tonight, is key. Those were the things that were troublesome to me. Those that know me, I'm going to always put the people of Wyandotte County first, and I've said that. Above any special interest, above any one individual or any group. I have to look at Wyandotte County as a whole. These are a lot of issues and a lot of unanswered questions that as your mayor and CEO, I needed to get answered. A lot of those questions that I had, unfortunately, weren't answered until tonight. I'm glad that we had this meeting. So some of these things could be brought forward, not just for this commission, but for the public. I feel comfortable with what I'm hearing. but we do have to find long-term solutions to these problems. I still have concerns about security within that facility because I'm not been told and getting any guarantees that there's any type of security apparatus that's in place, as well as the wraparound services when you talk about treating those people with mental illness, people that may need to be vetted, that may have storied backgrounds, people that may have addictions. Those are questions that I would really ask that those social service groups work on these moving forward. Think about building stronger bridges of collaboration with other social service groups. Think about maybe spreading these homeless support operations around the county to provide more opportunities for our homeless population to have better access as opposed to a tight density of people in one location. These are the questions that I had. And so I know the narrative has been spun that I wanted to close the shelter and I want to put people out. No, I wanted to pump the brakes to make sure that we dot our I's and crossed our T's and that we were doing everything we could to make sure that not only were we just providing shelter, but that we were providing the resources and a safe environment so this initiative could be successful. I, up until tonight, was not completely convinced that we had reached that threshold. So thank you for all the work that people have put in for this homeless, unhoused, warming initiative. I ask that moving forward that we all come together and work to find the real solutions to the real problems that we know impact the lives of real people every day. Hopefully with some of the questions that I still have, you can take those back and address those and get what needs to be addressed to this commission and to the community, especially the community at large, that's in close proximity to the Reardon Center, to bring a level of clarity and comfort, which could bring about the support that you would need so we don't arrive at these types of meetings trying to get answers and trying to get clarity and trying to get the support that you need to try and have an operation, which we all know has good intentions. I just ask that communication and better planning moving forward be a priority. With that being said, there has been a motion and a second. Is there a roll call?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Roll call. Markley.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane. The vote is 9-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. Our second order of business is also on the mayor's agenda. Item number 2 is to go into executive session to allow the commission to discuss a candidate for employment as permitted under the Kansas Open Meetings Act. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I move that the commission go into executive session until 6:23 PM to allow the commission to discuss a candidate for employment, a private personnel matter related to specific individuals as permitted under the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and that the staff designated by the acting county administrator be present to participate in the discussion, and that we can reconvene in open session at 6:23 PM here in the 5th floor conference room.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson. Kane. Garner.
Aye. We're in executive session until 6:23. That concludes our meeting at this time as we go into executive session.
My apologies about earlier. That wasn't directed at the council member.